I'm going to attempt to do this commentary as casually as possible. The skeleton design you saw earlier was designed by Luke Jones, a friend of mine in high school, and the animation was designed by John Herndon. You'll see that in the credits later on in the film. This is a 10-minute long short film that I wanted to do for about the past 3 years, and it took me 3 years to make it. I've been picking at the footage for quite some time before I found the right amount of cohesion in order to make this whole thing fit together in what I thought was interesting and unique kind of a way. The score helps it. My ex-roommate, Jared Berezin, had a friend named Jess Mullen, who you will see her name in the credits, who he introduced me to and said she'd like to do a score and get her name on a film, and she whipped up one that was oddly similar to the score for American Beauty, and a bit too subtle, and I wanted something that paced and pulsed a little bit. Obviously what you're hearing now is Beethoven, that John Herndon, my secondary editor, found in order to use some free domain Beethoven to match up the footage, which worked for the montage. This is a place in Burbank called the Hyena Art Gallery, which I absolutely love. Bill Schaefer, the man here, collects the wildest of things, loves Naked Lunch, crazy artwork, and collects films like Begotten and Freaks. Anything that poses a strong and wild question. The wilder the better, I think, for Bill. This is another art gallery called 1988. Once a year they do this show called Crazy for Cult. They've done it, I think, for the past 4 years, and the gentleman that runs this, who I did not get a chance to interview because his schedule was so tight, was very wonderful in letting me film all this. Back to Bill for a second. I've been to about 30 of Bill's shows, and they always are very fun and have a lot of free wine, and Bill's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to film. The same guy that did that painting you saw earlier was the same guy who did the interior painting on King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters. This is a montage I whipped up. All of these are from the Crazy for Cult art show. Anyways, back to Bill's art gallery. A lot of people have seen this short documentary and came into the Hyena art gallery looking for stuff from 1988, which blew my mind. People actually saw this 10-minute short film that I whipped up. You're just as much a geek as I am if you can name all those that it's referencing. I can name just about all but maybe 10% of these films. This is a place called Vidiots in Santa Monica. I highly recommend it for film nerds, but if you don't want to make the drive, if you live in California, there's one in just about every part of California if you know where to look. And I do. I came upon Bill doing one of the crappiest door-to-door jobs ever. I was selling massages in advance. Basically, in advance means I was selling people a certificate to go and get a free massage at a spa that I had never seen before, and I'm not even sure existed. I didn't sell one. I was on a training, and the trainer showed me how to suave somebody into buying one, which might have been a setup. I didn't have to pay any money to get into this program, and they assured me it was real advertising, and I don't think it was, so I quit that job that day. This is a Rocky Horror Picture Show. If you haven't seen it, you're in love with cult films, go see it in a theater, a large group of people who are dressed up. It's the only way to see it. This is the godfather of cult films.
Is wonderfully weird.
As you probably noticed, I'm rambling here. I tend to do that a lot when I talk. This is my ex-roommate, Alexandra Martin. He's an assistant editor for reality shows and loves cult films. Got the Firefly shirt on and the Puppet Master puppets in the background. This was taken a while ago, but he wanted to be a part of this documentary, and he's been possibly the biggest supporter of this whole thing. Oh, by the way, when he waves his hands, look for the jump cut. If you watch this again, there's a really slick, only editors have caught this, and only 3 out of the thousands of people have seen it. There's a jump cut of about 2 frames. Tom Devlin, my friend Amy Montgomery, introduced me to him. He was in the TV show Face Off for the Sci-Fi Channel. I was rooting for him the whole way. The zombie he got kicked out on, which wasn't very original according to the judges, I thought was wonderful, but I guess the design wasn't that original. He's a wealth of love, not just knowledge, but love and admiration for cheesy horror film. He's still got blood on his hands from working, and I'll thank John Herndon for fixing the color, because this was on mini DV, and it wasn't very color, and it was a little desaturated, and you could not tell where it was from. He rambled on and on and on. One piece that I missed out of this documentary is Tom Devlin has Herman Munster tattooed on his leg. I think you can see one of his tattoos there. Or maybe it's on his arm, but he has Herman Munster tattooed on his body. That is a man who loves cult films. The Evil Dead, this is like Godfather 2 of cult films. If you love independent film and you love horror and you've not seen The Evil Dead, shame on you. This guy I love. he brought color into this documentary. Matt Kennedy actually owns an art gallery and founded Panic House, which brought a lot of these sleazy, softcore porno samurai chick films to the United States, and where would we be without them? If you love Quentin Tarantino, Kill Bill wouldn't have happened without these movies. There's a film called Sex and Fury. Highly recommend it. The music is fantastic. The camera work is very creative, but very 1970s. This is one of the best, coolest, and funnest scenes I've ever seen in a movie. These men come to assassinate this woman while she's taking a bath. The awesome woman that she is, she jumps out of the bathtub and kills this. I edited this down. She takes the sword, breaks out. She's in the snow right now. That's what you call a jump cut. Breaks out of one of those paper Japanese doors. I love the transition we put in here of having the train. I really, really, really wanted that. And kills about 7 guys in the snow, bare-ass naked, covered in tattoos. That's hot. I love that. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful scene. This is Jack Hill. Quentin Tarantino has said in an interview that Jack is one of his favorite directors, and I didn't get to officially meet him. I met Sid here and just said hello. I was kind of shy. If you watch a lot of Grindhouse films, Sid Haig is a legend. He's been acting for almost 40 years, and it isn't a household name. That's Ellen Burstyn. If you've seen Requiem for a Dream, this is one of her first movies. She was nominated. Obviously, she was the mother in Requiem for a Dream. This is one of her first films. Her name wasn't even Burstyn in the credits, and that's Sid Haig at about 20. Sid's been acting a while. My friend Amy Montgomery actually worked with him on a film called Little Big Top, which was made, I think, 5 years ago. And it was the first time Sid had ever cried in a movie, and he'd been acting for almost 40 years in a lot of films, and I was amazed by that. Pasolini is a wild-ass director. Loves nudity, gay, poet, filmmaker. Ran over by a car by somebody who saw one of his films and was offended, or so the legend goes. This is a montage I whipped up of the signs in this particular independent video store. I think this is Cinephile or Vidiots. I think this is Vidiots. This is Vidiots. Cinephile's also in Santa Monica. Of all those placards, this is Eddie Brants. Pit stop logo down in the bottom middle corner underneath Tony's arm. You can see it right there. It's pretty cool. This store literally does have everything. This store is in North Hollywood, Burbank, Studio City-ish, off of Lankershim. They have 10,000 movies. Basically, anything you're looking for, if they don't have it, probably doesn't exist. This is a bust of, I think that's Jack Pierce, the famous monster makeup artist. I haven't talked a lot about my camera girl, who I love. I paid her in sushi and hugs and went to parties with her, worked on her film, supported her. Love her to death. A cute little woman named Brianna Frisbee, who captured me and a lot of these elements and has a real love for, camera work. I said 10,000, I meant they have over 100,000. This was great footage to use here. The Beanie and Cecil thing sort of livened up and popped up the documentary and added one thing I love more, variety. I've said this a while. If variety is the spice of life, then I'm probably Indian food, because I love a whole lot of crazy ass shit. Love these shots. And the zooms she did in this, that's me, by the way, if you wanted to know what I look like. And the zooms she did in this documentary were fantastic. It's my favorite shot of the thing. It really shows you the volume of things they have. This is full moon features. This documentary will be featured on, I believe it's Killer Eye Halloween Haunt DVD, which I highly recommend you pick it up. Those women at this party took their tops off for no reason, and it was very sexy. The blonde, which I don't show a lot, was beyond adorable. I didn't go up and hit on her. Now I probably would, but I didn't then because I was in work mode and I didn't think about it. But oh, she was beautiful. Full Moon has an amazing variety of just cheesy, fun, cheesy films. And if you want to get a group of friends together, a bowl of popcorn, I recommend the Subspecies trilogy. This was to illustrate the variety of cult films. That's why I did this little montage here. And I put in Scott Pilgrim in the World as a little kick in the pants to say that some modern films are, because after the DVD was released, Scott Pilgrim still sold out revival theaters, which is impressive. I love this little sound bite about how they don't have sexploitation, or they don't have porn, they have sexploitation, which is good enough for me. Brianna deserved the second credit in this, and then I staggered it all. All the people who get special thanks. Eric Lehman, I love, love, love him. He was, I believe, the field producer on the show The Colony, which he got me to work on. He's a legitimate, real producer. Everyone in these credits is a great person. I'm extending my thanks out to a lot of people. Lindsay Ellis, who's just a special thanks in there, introduced me to my editor, who I couldn't have done it without, or Ritvik, who's amazing, and the blogosphere, and especially Slash Film. All the artists that I talk about, the people in the montages, I couldn't have done this film without them, and the supporters of cult and independent cinema. From the bottom of my heart, thanks for watching. One thing I do want to mention, for all of you independent filmmakers out there, beware of film festivals. They can be a death trap. I sent this to maybe less than 10, and because of my creativity and contacting and people's interest in this doc, I got an offer from TLA Releasing and the Documentary Film Channel. So don't waste your money, filmmakers.